Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. It was another great weekend of Bears baseball, and especially great weekend for the BBN crew. How about that? All three of the teams that the BBN crew coaches took home their tournament victory, including a 5-0 weekend from 13U Floyd. 11U Burnsville won their tournament, and 14U Floyd won their tournament as well. But how about 16U Burnsville? A 5-0 weekend, first out of 20 teams. A monster weekend for the 6U Burnsville squad. A fantastic weekend, a huge tournament, Bernie, and 6U Burnsville able to come out on top. I just want to give you a chance, give me some thoughts on this team, because what a weekend for these boys at 16U.
I don't know, man. It was a crazy weekend. Crazy games on Sunday. This team was very deep this weekend. The pitching staff, Hobbs, Rocky, Hazik, all my guys threw really well. Line was very deep between Hobbs, Freddie, Cece, Ollie. All those guys had great weekends, and really good end of the weekend.
Yeah, fantastic weekend for the 16U Burnsville squad. Again, 20 teams in 16U Burnsville coming out on top with a 5-0 weekend. Great job all around. Some home runs this weekend. Parker Ells hit a home run as well. It was some twin power. Both Landon and Logan both hit home runs for 13U. Landon and Logan Meyer. Andrew Bover hit a home run. Harrison Blaybaum hit 2 home runs to extend his lead in the Bears for over-the-fence home runs. He's now got 10 this fall. A monster fall season for Harrison Blaybaum. And Adam Shockley, one of our rookies, hit a home run this weekend. A fantastic job for him. He's a guy that I like a lot who's been working really hard. So great to see that hard work pay off for Adam Shockley. All right, Bernie, let's move on to the big topic of the day. First thing I want to talk about is who has risen their stock the highest from the summer to the fall. Who's taken their stock and really brought it through the roof? Because, some people, they take fall ball a little bit lightly. Not the Bears. We look at the value of fall ball, and these players have certainly taken the value of fall ball to the max and have really raised their stock. Bernie, I'll let you go first. Who has been a big stock riser for you from the summer to the fall?
My first one, I'll stick with my 16U team. I already mentioned him, part of my pitching staff, Rocky Tucker Jr. He this fall has thrown 40 innings with 3.8, ERA, 22 walks, and 36 Ks. Now, Rocky was one of those guys that we hyped up, pre-summer season, and he went into the season as a 16U ace, and he lost the job completely. He was not great over the summer, but over this fall, he has refound form, and arguably, he might be the best pitcher on the team so far this fall.
Yeah, he's been one of the best high school pitchers, period, this fall. He's been an absolute beast. Rocky really, in the summer, he went through stretches where he couldn't throw strikes, and then went through stretches where he maybe threw too many strikes, where he was just pounding the middle of the plate. It seems like he's found a happy medium where he's pounding the zone, but also working the corners, throwing a lot of off-speed, doing a great job. Rocky Tucker doing a fantastic job missing barrels, and looking like a top-of-the-rotation pitcher for years to come. For me, Bernie, I'm going to go with a guy that honestly, we haven't talked about enough for how good he's been this fall, and that's Will Thiling. This is a guy who was in the middle of the order all season long for 11U Floyd in the summer, now 12U Floyd, and he was a good hitter. He's been a great hitter all year, but he's really stepped up to another level this fall. It's not even close to second best hitter on this team, but behind Brendan Bass, he's been the number 2 guy, and he's been an absolute beast. The big thing for Will Thiling, at least going back, obviously we never said this on the show, but my biggest concern about Will Thiling was I thought he hit too many balls on the ground. I never thought he'd be able to live up to his power because of how many balls he hit on the ground. Well, now he's starting to put the ball in the air, and you're really starting to see the power come out for him. He's already got a pair of home runs this fall. He's been fantastic for that 12U Floyd squad, and Will Thiling, excited to see what things to come for him. All right, Bernie, your next big stock riser from the summer to the fall.
Next big stock riser, 13U Bell player, Dominic Palucci. I think we've talked about him a little bit recently. Dominic's one of those guys that, long-term he was going to be like the long-term project type guy. Top team eventually, right? But I believe he started on Kryler this fall, and he's moved up to Bell, and these are just his Bell stats. He's batting .688 with a .750 on base and a 1.5 OPS, which is first on that Bell squad. So Dominic Palucci, man, this guy is way ahead of schedule to where we thought he'd be right now.
Yeah, he was dominating on that Kreitler team. He was the best hitter on Kreitler. So we said, all right, let's move him to Bell and see how he does. Well, he's been the best hitter on Bell since getting there. So an absolute beast, Dominic Palucci. He will be a top team guy sooner rather than later. Excited to see what he's going to do over the winter because you look how far he came from last winter to this season. I'm going to go with another 13U guy, Bernie, and this guy, I'll tell you what, kind of a similar situation to Will Thiling. He was already in the middle of the lineup. He started the year kind of in the back of the lineup in the bench, and then over the summer he moved his way into the starting lineup, and then this fall he moves his way to the top of the lineup, and he has been the best hitter on 13U Floyd. That's Logan Meyer. And I'll tell you what, we talk a lot about this show, about Landon Meyer. He's always in the MVP conversation. He's winning platinum gloves, and he's got a twin, Logan Meyer, who maybe was in Landon's shadow a little bit for a while, but certainly not this fall. Logan has been an absolute beast, the best hitter on 13U Floyd. He's an absolute monster. I mean, the power has come all the way there. The big question for him over the course of the summer was he going to be able to make enough solid contact to hit for power? Because he's one of those guys who would swing at everything and not hit it squarely every single time. Now he's one of those guys who swings at everything and hits everything. I mean, he's been an absolute monster, Logan Meyer. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what he does over the winter, to see if he can really stay as the best hitter on that 13 Floyd squad. And maybe, Bernie, we're talking about him as an MVP candidate next summer. Bernie, your last big riser over the summer to the fall.
The last one, we're going to 14U from 14U Floyd, Andrew Driscoll. This was a player who I think pre-fall, some might have even doubted him making 14U Floyd. It was a question mark. He was not guaranteed on this roster. But he has actually made the roster, and not only has he made the roster, he's batting leadoff, he's the shortstop of the team, and this fall he's been over 400 with almost 600 on base, over 1 OPS. He's second on team innings pitched, and he has a great ERA, and he's put on an absolute clinic defensively for that 14U squad.
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest thing that he has added for me in terms of value has been that defense. I mean, he's been locked down at shortstop. And I'll tell you what, his offense has come a long way. You know, you never knew what Andrew Driscoll was going to give you offensively. And he's been a very, very good player, good enough to get into that leadoff spot. And we'll see how he continues to develop over the winter. All right, my big riser is going to be a guy we talk about a lot, one of those BBN darlings. It is ZZ Garcia, our number one prospect formerly, and I'll tell you what, this guy's been an absolute beast. Again, another guy at the start of the summer. Is he a top team guy? Yeah, I think so. You know, he'll play some on the second team, he'll play some on the top team. I think he'll be a top team guy sometime, though. Well, start of the fall, yeah, he's a top team guy. We'll put him at the bottom of the lineup and just see what happens. Now he has been in every single statistical category, top 5 or better. He's been one of the best hitters on this team. He's the starting shortstop, plays there every inning, and his defense has come a long way from the start of the fall to the end of the fall. And I'll tell you what, credit to KJ Floyd for really sticking with ZZ, because he was a little shoddy to start the fall at shortstop. He was named the starting shortstop, and KJ basically said, hey, no matter what happens, how many mistakes you make, I'm rolling with you all fall. And it was a little bit of a rocky start, but ZZ's really come a long way, and he's really done a great job at shortstop for this team, along with his offense. He's been fantastic, a guy that I think maybe not next summer, but I definitely think beyond that could be an MVP-type candidate player. All right, Bernie, for the rest of the show, I want to talk about some rookies, some rookie talk, and maybe some of the guys that we haven't talked about a lot. I would say that me and Bernie each have 3 rookies, and for the most part, I would say these 6 rookies have not been mentioned more than once or twice on the show. I know at least one of these guys has not been mentioned a single time on the show. So some guys we haven't talked about too much, but some rookies who over the course of the fall have really caught our eyes. So Bernie, I'll let you go first. Give me a rookie you want to talk about here for some rookie talk.
I'll go down to the 11U area. It's going to be Parker Cates. Kind of like you said with ZZ a second ago. Parker played a majority with the second team with 11U Myers, but toward the end of the fall got some playing time with 11U Burnstill. And I think that, I mean, this kid works really hard. He's in free swing. He does the catcher program. He's a catcher. He'll come up and sometimes just catch precision pitching for fun, just to work on his catching. I mean, this kid is a straight grinder, and I think that eventually he gets that area maybe where ZZ's now, where he's in the top team category.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Bernie, the one thing you can say about Parker Cates is he's got the drip. And I'll tell you what, if you ask some people, drip is more important than skill, and I think Parker's already got the drip. Now I just got to get the skill to put it all together. I like Parker Cates a lot. Great body, really good work ethic. I think he's going to be a very good player. One of my favorite 11U prospects. I'm going to go with a guy that I know we have not mentioned on the show, and he's a guy who, I run the 14U practices, and I see these guys every week, and I've seen this guy, and he works really hard, man, and I like what he's doing, but I only work with the fielders. I don't really do much with the hitters. And then I open up Game Changer and I see what this guy's doing at the bat. It's been unbelievable. I'm talking about Dane Pastrana. And if you haven't heard this guy's name, you are going to learn his name because he's been an absolute beast. One of the best hitters on that 14U Driscoll squad. Leads the team in batting average and OPS. Second on the team in doubles. This guy's been a beast. He plays a very serviceable third base. Can also play the outfield as well. And he works his absolute butt off. I think this Dane Pastrana kid, I think he will be a top team player in the future. But for now, he has been an absolute dominant force on that 14U Driscoll squad and a player I like a lot. All right, Bernie, your next rookie.
We'll do this. We'll go to 12U. 12U Floyd player. We'll go with Paxton LaPlante. Another kid I think works really hard. He's in precision pitching. I know I've seen his pitching come a long way the past couple weeks. He throws hard off the mound. He's got a really good glove in the field. I think really the only question with Paxton is how much power is he going to hit for, right? I think he's a decent low contact hitter, but if he can develop some power, you're talking about maybe a perennial, all-star top team guy because he has the talent to do so.
Yeah, I like this Paxton kid a lot. Since he's joined Precision Pitching, I've really gotten to talk to him a lot more. Obviously, I see him around the Bud Dome. I run his practices, but I really never had a chance to work one-on-one with Paxton until he got into pitching. And I'll tell you what, a fantastic kid, very, very coachable, very hardworking, and I think he is going to be as good of a player as he wants to be because he's got the work ethic for it. I like that kid a lot. All right, I'm going to go 13U, again, my neck of the woods, my age, and I'm going to go with a guy I'm very excited about for the future, and that's Josiah Leaker. This is one of those guys who maybe his stats really haven't translated to the games yet, but the strides he's made just at practice and in the cage over the past couple months have been very, very impressive. I mean, even though he's not hitting for a necessarily high average, you see some of the balls he's hit in games, and it's like, whoa, he wasn't doing that a couple months ago. And you see some of the plays he makes in games, and it's like, dude, this guy can play. And he's a guy I like a lot. I think he's going to be a top team guy in the future, maybe the not-so-distant future, because he can catch, he can play a good infield, and the big question is, how consistently is he going to hit? And I think if he keeps working the way he has been, I think it's going to be very consistently, and I think he's going to be a very solid top team player before too long. I like this Josiah Leaker kid a lot, a very hard worker. All right, Bernie, one more rookie, and I know he's from your home age. Let's hear it.
This guy right here, man, when they first came into the Bud Dome, that first practice when I saw him, was probably the prospect I was the most excited about. And that's going to be Cale Taylor. If you just look at Cale, he's fast. He's insanely athletic. He's got a good arm. He hits for power. He does everything well. He does everything great. He works really hard. This kid's one of those guys who, because you see his athletic talent, he could turn into a potential Bears MVP. That is his ceiling. He has one of the highest ceilings of anyone I've seen. And not to mention, the past couple weeks, I've needed some help on the mound for that 11U squad, and he has been great in his first two starts.
Yeah, you look at this guy and, Bernie, you're listing off his skills. There's no glaring weakness there. Surely everything can get better. That's what the Bears is all about, is making your entire game better. But Cale has no weakness. All he's got to do is hit the ball harder, throw the ball harder, make every play on defense. That's what we do at the Bears. You look at a guy who doesn't have a weakness, and all he's got to do is shoot to the moon. This is the type of prospect we're looking for in the Bears. Another one of those guys, Bernie, I say this a lot on the show, and I've kind of determined that I like these kind of players. He's a guy who hits for more power than his size, and I like those guys because it means he's swinging with everything he's got. I like this player a lot. I think he's going to be a superstar. I'm very excited to see what he can do over the course of the winter. Our final rookie we're going to talk about today is a guy that I think we've talked about on the show a little bit, but a guy I really like a lot, and every single practice I seem to like him more. It's Weston Brody. This guy getting a chance on 14U Floyd the last couple weeks, but he's been a star on 14U Driscoll. He's got a very slick glove. I sometimes poke fun at him in practice because he'll make the craziest play you've ever seen. I smoke a ball at him, and he picks it backhanded and fires a strike to first, and then I'll hit a weak ball at him and he'll miss it. And sometimes I make fun of him for it, but honestly, his glove is fantastic. His work ethic is fantastic. I think, again, the question for him is how much muscle can he put on over the winter to where some of these balls he's hitting that are singles and doubles turn into those singles becoming doubles and doubles becoming homers. I like this guy a lot. Crazy work ethic, great glove, great kid, and I think he's going to be a Bear superstar, exactly the type of player that succeeds in the Bears. But that's a lot of rookies that we haven't got a chance to talk about. Some summer to fall stock risers and a lot of championships this weekend. It was a very fun week. This is our last weekend of youth baseball. We've got 3 more weekends of high school baseball, and of course the BBN will be there to cover all of it for the last couple weeks of the season. Couldn't be more excited. Obviously, Bernie's 11U team and my 13 team wrapping up this weekend along with the rest of the U team. We'll talk about all of that youth recap, basically recapping the season next week, and then it's going to be all high school for the rest of the season. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to y'all